Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk about Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, and I have a lot to say, so buckle in and stay a while because this will probably be a very lengthy video. So if you don't know about Lady Midnight, it is the new Shadowhunters. It's a new series by Cassandra Clare, so if you're not aware, she has written the Mortal Instruments series as well as the Infernal Devices, and now this new one called the Dark Artifices, and the first book is called Lady Midnight, obviously, and that's what we'll be talking about. I will say, if you have not read the Mortal Instruments or Infernal Devices, do watch this video. In fact, don't even, if you want to start with the Shadowhunters and stuff like that and think this is a good one to step in, I honestly don't think it's a good for you. I think you need to read the previous ones because there are so many intertwining characters and backstories that you're just going to be confused about and not understand and all that stuff. So I highly recommend reading the Mortal Instruments and then the Infernal Devices. Actually, there's like a whole thing of how you should read them. I will link it down below on her website where and what order you should read them because, like I said, they're intertwining. Like, you need to read this book and then the Clockwork Angel and then this book and then Clockwork Prince and then this book. It's confusing. But if you have read all of those books, hello, I will talk briefly, spoiler free, and then I will talk about spoilers, so just be prepared for that. So, this new series, this follows a whole new set of people, and I, for one, was very nervous about it, but I loved it. So we follow pretty much our main characters are Emma and Julian. Emma is a Carstairs, if you are familiar with that, with the backstory and stuff like that, that's awesome. And Julian is Julian Blackthorn. We actually get a brief introduction to Julian and Emma in the last book of the More Intimate series, City of Heavenly Fire, and we learn a little bit about their past, about how Emma's parents died by Sebastian, and also how Julian's dad died, and all that kind of stuff. So we already know about them, pretty much. We know a little bit about it, so we're not thrust in completely into these new characters' world. We know a little bit about their backstory. So pretty much where this picks off is after the Mortal Instruments. It's been some time. It's been like, I want to say probably like 5 years later when that whole war began with Sebastian and blah, 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 blah. And we are following, and Emma is very fixated on her parents' murders. The Clave and everyone is telling her that Sebastian killed her parents, but she does not believe that. She's always known that something has not been right. And all of a sudden, all these random people, like fairies and other people, are showing up like dead, like their hands are cut off, they have wounds on their body. It's just really bizarre, and it's exactly like her parents' death. So she starts to wonder, something is not right, something is not connecting. So that's our whole premise of this book, is having all these murders, having them connect to Emma's parents' deaths. That's how it all kind of ties together, and that's our main plot of this point. Of course, there's so many different plots because it wouldn't be an amazing Cassandra Clare book if there wasn't like 50 plots that for you to love. Am I right? So that is the pretty much gist of it. So like I said, we have a whole new set of characters. We have Emma, who is a very strong-willed, very amazing character, very type of different from our previous two heroines in the different series. Claire was very steadfast. She was kind of nervous, but she made a lot of like rash decisions. That's why I love Clary, but there's a lot of me that doesn't love Clary because she didn't like think about things. She just did not do it. She just, I don't know. She had a lot of hesitancy. I love Clary. And then we had Tessa, who I love Tessa, but Tessa was very timid at first. He was very quiet and gentle, and Emma is like the complete opposite. Emma is strong-willed. She is sassy. She reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There, I said it. Like, her sassy remarks and everything, I'm like, is this Buffy I'm reading? Because this is awesome. I love her because Buffy is strong, and she knows she's strong, and she knows that she has great sarcasm. I mean, love it. So I loved Emma. And then we have Julian. Julian is a Blackthorn, and he, if you have read the last book, I'm just going to act like you have, okay? We're talking as if you have read them. I hope that's okay. So we know that Julian has been taking care of his siblings, and holy crap, there's a lot of Blackthorns. So let's just go through the roster real quick. So first we have Mark's the oldest, then it's Helen, then it's Julian, then it's the two siblings, then it's the two twins, Ty and Livy, then Drew, then Tabby. I think that's it, 7 kids. Wow. So pretty much what happens after Sebastian does whatever, they send Mark to the wild hunt with Fairy, then they send Helen to Wrangel Island, and so pretty much Julian is left to take care of like what, 1, 2, 3, 4 children, and Tabby was only 2 at the time. So he has pretty much had this huge burden on him for these past 5 years, and all this craziness happens, and it's just insane. This book is insane. I will say, when I first got this book, I was like, holy crap, it's going to take me a month to read this because I don't have time to read. I have a kid. What is time? Usually when he naps, I either work or I'm cleaning or something, but no. This whole past week when he napped, I'm like, I got to read. That never happens to me. Never. So I finished this book in like 4 days, as opposed to my time I thought it would be in a month. So I have not read this book. You need to read it. I will say this is the best first book in a Cassandra Clare series I've ever read. Like, I really liked City of Bones when I first read it, but I wasn't like overly. There was a lot of information, you know, as with any new fantasy book, you get this new information and you're just like overwhelmed by it, as well as the Clockwork Angel. Like, we did prequel, like that was easier, but it was kind of harder still. And then we have this one, and this one we already know pretty much what's going on in Shadowhunters. We have had like 7 or 8 books to really understand the concept of it. So I wasn't really thrust into this world. I was already in this world, so I understood it completely, and I thought it was the best first book series I have ever read by her, and I will stand by that because this book was amazing. Also, there is a huge thing going on that novellas that Cassandra Clare has written before this one. It's called Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. It's like an 11-book novella series. I learned about that literally a week before. I'm not that great about book news, guys. I'm really not. And I was like, do I have time to read this? And then I saw it was 11 parts, and I was like, I don't think I have time to read this. So I didn't, and I kind of kicked myself in the butt for that because there is some plots in here that really connect to that. I plan to read Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy very, very soon. Like, I plan to do it very soon because I do want to have all the connecting dots. If you don't know, that's like, just got, like I said, 11 novellas. I feel like it follows a lot about Simon. It's got a couple of Blackthorn things in here. It really, I wouldn't say you need to read it. I didn't read it, and I felt fine going into it, but I know the big thing at the end was a big story in the novella series, and I was like, I didn't quite understand. Like, I didn't get the whole, I understood it, but I wasn't like as shocked, or, you know, I didn't feel like it was as intense as it would have been if I read the series, if I read the novellas. So I will read those, but I will say, if you haven't read them, it's not a huge deal. I think you can still read this book, because I did, and I still loved it. That's all I'm going to talk about spoiler-wise. I don't really want to spoil it all for you, this book, because this book was amazing. I will say, it had a very good plot. It had very good to it. I was never bored with it. When I wasn't reading it, I was very curious. Like, you know how when you're not reading a book and you don't have time to read it because you're, you know, doing life or whatever, and you're like, man, I wonder what's happening right now in that book right now. I can't wait to get back to that book. That's how I felt with this book. I constantly wanted to go back to read it because I was just so invested in the story and in the characters, and just the story that Cassandra Clare writes. It just makes me want to never leave the world. So the flow was amazing. The plot was great. It left me wanting more. That is 100% for sure. And yeah, so if you haven't read it, read it. If I could give it a rating, 5 out of 5. This is my first 5-star book this year, and I am happy that it belongs to Lady Midnight. And let's talk about this cover. Like, I like her City of Bones covers, or the Moral and Shipper covers. They're okay. The Infernal Devices series are a lot better. This cover, though, whew, this cover is like my favorite. Like, oh, this is beautiful. Like, I love it. I just want to look at it all day, and the epicness that it is. It is epic. If you haven't read it, he has to go. He has to go. But please come back so we can talk about it, because I'm going to delve into a lot of stuff. Will I forget some things? Probably, but that is human nature. So, bye-bye non-spoiler people, and hello spoiler people, let's begin. So, I'm going to go all over the place with this, so just be forewarned. So let's talk about the characters, Emma and Julian. Pretty much, those are our primary two, I would say. Of course, there's a lot of supporting characters, which I will get to. I loved Emma. I loved her just overallness, like I said, her sassiness, her sarcasticness. I thought she was just amazing. I love the way she was written. As well as Julian. I really felt for Julian. I felt so sorry for him that he had to take care of his siblings, and that, you know, he wasn't even the oldest. He was like the 3rd oldest, but his 2 older ones got sent away. Like, I was like, that is just not fair. Everything that has happened in Julian and Emma's life has just not been fair. Emma's parents got killed. Julian had to kill his dad. His mom died. His brother was taken away. His sister was taken away. It's just, he has so much burdens. I feel for Julian so much. He's such a quiet and very desperate soul. So I really hope at the end of this trilogy just to see him free, to see him be like, I love my siblings so much, and they will all be my siblings, and I'll spend time with them, but I'm 100% their guardian. You know, he can still be involved in their lives, obviously, because he's their sibling, but to be, you know, actually be a brother and not a parent. And I really hope, you know, his and Emma's thing, let's talk about that. So, of course, we have this whole underlying, oh crap, I don't know. they're linked. You know, obviously they were linked since they were 12, and Julian says it was selfish because he wanted Emma to never leave, but I don't think Emma would have left because that's her best friend. And then of course you can obviously tell with this whole book that things are happening between them. They are finally realizing they love each other. Well, for Julian, Julian's known for a very long time that he has loved Emma. Like, that has been his thing, you know. As soon as they talked about the room that's always been locked in his studio, I was like, let's be real here, that's got like 1,000 pictures of Emma in it, like paintings. We all know. We all know. If anybody else didn't know, I'm like, how could you not know? And for Emma, this book was when she really realized that she loves Julian, not just loves him, but she is in love with him. She is tied to him. Her soul is connected to his soul. But the whole Parvati thing, you're linked, of course, you know, when your Parvati feels pain, you feel pain. If your Parvati dies, you die, and all that other stuff. But this was much more intense, especially, you know, when Emma went to the convergence, and you know, she almost drowned. Julian was coughing up water, and I was like, wow, this is a whole new level of like linked. Like, you guys are linked for sure. And then of course when Julian got shot by Perfect Diego, and she had to put ruins on him, and like that ruin really wouldn't have saved his life, but it was just their bondness and their love and their Parvati, all of that can mix, and that made him heal. It was just intense. The whole thing is intense. And of course we have this whole thing of the clave says the Parvati, you cannot fall in love. You can be like brother and sister love, but not be in love. The clave is always like, the law is hard, but it is the law. And I'm like, I need to kick this law in the face. Like, the clave is a bunch of jerks. Like, they have been since day one. Everyone, I say to the clave, probably read it. Like, if you're part of the clave, you're like, man, everyone must hate me. Because they do. Because some of the laws are just, ugh. And then you hear about the end about how what happens with Parvati, how if you do fall in love, and then you have power, then you kill your family. And I'm like, well, that's not good. Like, why don't they tell people that? Like, I mean, I feel like they should be upfront with it. Just be like, you can't love each other. We won't tell you why. You can't love each other. But if you do, we're gonna do things to you. What, clave? You guys are really bad. Like, you should redo your government, because this is not good. So yeah, with that whole thing in the end and them falling in love, I loved all their scenes together, of course. How when Emma was realizing she loves Julian, in the dance scene and the beach scene. Let's talk about the beach scene. Like, they kissed and then they did more, and I was like, whoa, like, this happened way too fast. Like, I'm not saying I would disagree with it, but I was like, wow, guys, like, we went for it. Just after that, you know, and of course the end and the heartbreak of the end, with Emma learning the truth about the Parvati, and then she, you know, is trying to turn away from Julian, and she knows the only way to get that nail literally in the coffin is to be with his brother. She confronts Mark. She's like, let's pretend we're together, because trust me, it's gonna save Julian in the end. You owe me a favor. And he's like, well, why lie about it? And then shuts the door. Dude, what? That's weird. So it's making me think that, is something gonna happen here? Like, is she gonna be like falling in love with Mark and then be also in love with Julian? Like, I don't get that. I'm nervous as crap about that, because I love Mark, but I feel like, I was like, I don't know if you should do that to your brother. Like, I don't know. But then again, he doesn't really know about them two. Will Emma tell him, or will she just be like, we have to pretend to be together? Christina, let's talk about her. She's a new character as well in this book, and I fell in love with her. So Emma is very steadfast, very strong-willed. She just jumps into anything, and she's like that. And she's sarcastic. Christina is the complete opposite. She is very calm, very reassured. They are just the perfect anchors for each other, you know? An awesome addition. She has some secrets of her own, as well as I love every Cassandra Clare novel. I feel like the more characters introduced, there's secrets behind them. Here, like, ooh, what's your secret? What did you do? What happened with you? And with Christina, you know, you have that she transferred institutes, and then with Perfect Diego and Jamie, I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. But that whole thing, and then Perfect Diego came, and let me just tell you guys, there is like a love hexagon up in this book. Like, we got Emma and Julian, but then Emma's gonna have Mark, maybe. We got that going on, but Mark's also been with Kilran, the fairy, and then there's also some going with Christina, and then maybe Emma, and that's a lot going. And then Christina's also connected to Perfect Diego. There's a lot going on. A lot of different love interests. I'm not hating it, but I'm just gonna probably get confused. I don't know. But I love Christina, and I love her addition, and I hope she sticks around and we learn more about her, as well as Diego. Diego, I'm still kind of shaky about. I'm like, you kind of betrayed Christina a little bit, but I think he showed himself. And then Mark, of course, Mark is the Blackthorn that was reintroduced in the series. I didn't think it was coming back, but I didn't know. I don't ever trust fairies, okay? I think this series is the one series that has taught me to never trust fairies. Like, every time I'm more interested, they're talking about fairies, and they make deals. I'm like, why make a deal? You're with the fairy, you know, they're not good. And that whole cold piece, and then the wild hunt. That was so interesting to read about, the wild hunt, and how Mark and I'm pronouncing all these names wrong, got together, and then how Kilran kind of betrayed him. I was like, that is not love. You do not love that dude, guys. The Binks thing, oh, so much stuff. But I liked how Kilran, kind of redeemed himself at the end with helping them out with that big thing. And the big thing, of course, let's talk about that. Malcolm being the guardian. I didn't see it coming. I did not. I didn't really... I don't try to figure things out, honestly. I just try to just go with the flow of books. But as soon at the end, when they all had figured out, like 2 pages beforehand, when they said, you know, that it was a warlock that fell in love with Shadowhunter, I'm like, Malcolm. But then you're thinking, because Cassandra Clare does this thing to you, where, you know, in the Moral Instrument series that Hodge Starkweather was the bad guy, and he was like the runner of the whole institute. So you're like, I don't think it could be a Diana because she wouldn't do that again, but maybe she would. And then, you know, you are obviously familiar with Magnus and how he was a warlock and how you feel like you can trust Magnus because he's amazing. So you feel like all warlocks are probably the same way. I think that's what she did. She's like, no, no, no. All warlocks are not the same. This Malcolm guy is bad. And you feel for Malcolm. Like, I was like, this guy's not a villain. He was talking about rom-coms and pizza and being nice, and then he's a villain. But then he's doing all this stuff for love. And I was like, oh, I understand this. I understand this. Because at the end, if that would happen to Emma, Julian would do the same thing. I have no doubt about it, he would. Felt for Malcolm so deeply, and do I think he's dead? No, because there has been not a body in front of us. Because that guy, he's not dead. He is not dead. Let me reassure you. I know Jem and Tessa went to go get that black book, but he is going to be gone, and so is Malcolm, and they're going to be like, well, he's somewhere. And then Annabelle, of course, you know, that raises the whole Annabelle Lee, which I loved how the whole Edgar Allan Poe tied in with that. I thought that was just really cool how that tied in with that. But I loved how, in the end, she woke up. And we don't know what she's going to be like. Necromancy is not a thing. Necromance raises people from the dead is not a thing we've experienced with any of these books. I'm interested if Annabelle is going to be Annabelle Blackthorn, like she's going to be like, oh, I'm here, I got vengeance to serve, let me do this, or she's going to be like, hey, I'm here, let me just be a friend, let me try to help out, let me talk to Malcolm, or she's going to be someone different. I have no recollection of who she is, of just being dead for so long. They could go so many ways, honestly, because Raising the Dead, that's some dark junk, okay? So we don't know what's going to happen with that. We honestly don't. Am I interested? Yeah. So I don't know if she's going to be a villain or if she's going to be somebody different, or who knows? As well as Malcolm, you know. He could realize that if Annabelle is completely not herself anymore, he could be like, oh crap, I did something really bad. You know, that could happen. And very well, that may happen. So there's just so many things. And Diana, let's talk about her. Diana is the tutor of the whole, the crew, the Blackthorns and stuff, and there has been so much mystery about Diana. She went to Thailand for her like abroad year or something, and something obviously happened there, but that has made her like not trusted, or she did something wrong, you know. I don't know. I hope we figure out more. We probably will, obviously, about her and her, you know, secrets and stuff. I see more of the siblings. I love the siblings. I think they are awesome. Ty and Livy, and, you know, little Tabby and Drew. I think they're just a really great cast of supporting characters, and I love them. And let's talk about the end with Kit. So in the very beginning of the book, we get introduced to this new guy, Kit, and his dad is Johnny Rook. Rook is just the sneaky guy that does horrible things and bad things and a lot of stuff. So you don't really know much about it. Like the first chapter, you get a very glimpse into it, and you're like, who is this dude, and what does he have to do with the story? So I thought he would be more in the story, but we get to like the end, and we finally figure out who Kit is, and he is the lost Heron, or no, his dad is the lost Herondale, or Kit is the lost Herondale. I forget which one's the lost Herondale. That's the part where I didn't really understand it that much because it was in the Tale of the Shadowhunter Academy, and it was a novella, and I didn't read it, so I didn't know what the whole big deal about it was. It's like, oh, he's a Herondale. In general there, I'm like, well, this is a big deal because we don't see them that much. And, you know, Kit is now at the Institute, and he's a Shadowhunter, and he's a Herondale. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to play out because that's cool. So I can't wait to read the novella as well to see how that really affects everything, because it's obviously a huge deal. And obviously we have a lot of, our amazing, friends from the past coming to join us. We see Tessa, we see Jem, we see Jace, we see Clary, we see Simon, or we see, Magnus. We see like all of our friends. I love how they're interweaving, but they're not there too much to take away from the story, because I personally like that we have a whole new set of characters to fall in love with. As much as I love the old gang, I want to see a new gang and fall in love with them, and that's just how it is. And I think she did it perfectly, how, you get glimpses of it here and there, but, obviously it's more Emma and Julian's story, and how, it's all about them and their student stuff. Overall, like I said, I love this book so much. I'm so sad it's over, and I'm so sad about how she wrecks your heart. But I have full confidence by the last book, everything will be pieced together just right, because Cassandra Clare knows how to break your heart, but she also knows how to rebuild it back together at the end. So I have full trust in that. So I'm happy for it. And please let me know who's your favorite character from this new series. I'm an Emma girl through and through. Love her. I love Julian, even though that dude's kind of like the end with him trying to pin that other guy on things, and then he was just very like concise and helping his family. That kind of freaks me out, but I'm like, well, it's family. I also do the same thing to protect my family and my kids and my siblings. That's how it goes with family. Overall, again, like I said, I love this. 10 out of 5 stars, 15 out of 5 stars. Loved this book. Please let me know what you thought about it. Let's have a chat. Let's talk. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to see more bookish type of videos. And I will see you later. Bye.